Well, here I am again. I was not planning on doing this topic this time. I was going to focus on Indiana's. They just did some stuff with higher ed, and I like that topic. But I decided to do this on what our president is calling Alligator Alcatraz. And I'm going to start with what DHS has been doing. So they've been posting on Twitter, and I'll put it up here. There is a post they put up that when you see it, it invokes memories of of the 30s in a certain country, and it says, "Help your country and yourself. Report all foreign invaders." And it gives an ICE number 866, the ICE number. And what's interesting about this photo they used, a white supremacist is the one who made it. He claims that his name is CJ Engel. He goes right here, it says, "This image came from my account. Never stop posting," all caps. He also has stuff like, "If I told you 5 years ago that the Overton window would shift to stopping legal immigration, you would have thought me crazy. So believe me when I tell you that within 3 years, we will be talking about retroactively canceling citizenship status of anchor babies from the third world." So I saw this. I saw that DHS put it on there, and then I found out who created it and what they wrote. I called Jim Banks. I called Todd Young. Have heard nothing about them. I specifically asked, do they support DHS posting stuff like this, knowing that it comes from a white supremacist account? And I then asked or stated that I believe they do because they voted for Kristi Noem and she runs DHS. She's the head. So there's that. I called Jefferson Shreve's office and they responded to me, but I called back because I was like, this has nothing to do with what I asked. If the congressman supports this type of stuff, knowing who it's coming from. So it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I haven't heard anything from anybody except for Jefferson Shreve, who I'm waiting on the response. They said they were going to give me, they were like, I'm sorry, we'll give you the real response or the correct response. So I have nothing to say other than I believe Todd Young and Jim Banks support this type of stuff. So when I look into it a little bit, the language used in that poster by DHS, it's demonizing the other. So I have some notes here. So it's referring to immigrants as foreign invaders, uses inflammatory militarized language, and that's a hallmark of Nazi propaganda. And I hate using that word Nazi because it gets thrown around a lot, Nazi Germany, but it fits. At this current moment, the things that our government is doing fits for some of these things. It's a hallmark of Nazi, which often portray Jews, Slavs, and others as threats to the Volk. The Volk is German for the people. It also appeals to national duty. The phrase, "help your country and yourself," calls on citizens to report others for the supposed good of the nation, echoing how Nazi citizens were pressured to report Jews, political dissidents, or anyone deemed un-German. How do you know somebody's an illegal immigrant? I'll get into that here in a little bit. 3, simplistic good versus evil framing. The imaginary offers a binary, patriotic America versus dangerous outsiders. This black and white thinking is central to authoritarian propaganda. And this is part of what they're doing is propaganda. And I've said it in the past, it's us versus them. They want to dehumanize these people. So we don't care that as of the other day, they have what they're calling Alligator Alcatraz. The president's going down to that. Before I get into that and how horrible that is, how do you tell somebody's an illegal immigrant? My grandfather, he died in 99, Alzheimer's. My mother's father is an immigrant. He didn't speak English ever. He was a permanent resident, green card holder, so he worked and he got Social Security. He's brown skin. He's very looking Hispanic, Spanish. How do you determine who is illegal, who's not? Who is doing this? People are just deciding that people who look different are illegal. We've arrested multiple citizens just because they look Spanish or they look different. They're brown. I mean, I've been called a spick growing up. People didn't know that I was half Spanish, and I get called because of the way I look, and that has nothing to do with my legality or legalness, but it's what people they see something, and they're making this about color. For lack of a better word, they are making this about color, and they want us to turn on people for no other reason than to make themselves feel better, I guess. They believe immigrants are the problem, and getting rid of them isn't the solution to all their problems. That's a different topic we can get into, why some of these people are having problems they're having, but it's not the immigrants, legal immigrants are causing their problem, and not even the illegal immigrants are causing their problem. So then there's that. So now I want to go back to quickly about the president is going to Alligator Alcatraz. I've seen some people call it Alligator Auschwitz. I call it American Auschwitz. I'm getting some notes here. And I was like, why are the people making these comparisons? And it says it's because there's extreme isolation and harsh conditions. The sites in the Everglades, surrounded by alligators, pythons, and swamps, natural barriers meant to prevent escape. It's far from legal aid, oversight, media, or rapid medical response, raising red flags for due process violations without trial. Mass detention of a specific group. The camp is being designed to hold migrants, primarily undocumented immigrants or those awaiting deportation or asylum processing. Up to 5,000 people in tents and trailers. Large-scale, long-term detention of people based on legal status or nationality. Weak oversight and legal loopholes. Constructed under emergency orders which limited environmental and legal review. Critics argue it bypassed constitutional protections, similar to how Japanese Americans were interned in World War II without trial. Again, this is not the first time we've put people in camps. We've rounded people up in camp and put them in camps. Words from critics. Immigration lawyers have called it high-tech internment camp. Tribal leaders have linked it to prison on stolen land. Environmental and human rights groups warn it may amount to cruel and unusual punishment under the Eighth Amendment. Concentration camps historically refers to mass detention of civilians. I know this is a touchy topic, so I'll try to be careful how I word this. Auschwitz, which I've been to, which is heartbreaking to go. Thinking about it even gets me evoking some emotions because, once you get to that room where they have the shoes of the kids, I don't know how somebody can go in there and not feel something. Auschwitz didn't start off as a death camp. It was originally a concentration camp, work camp. So, again, in our history in America, we have put people in camps, internment camps, because we thought they would be traitors to our country, even though they were Americans. Now we're rounding up people, and we're going to put them in a concentration camp to be held, and we've already seen that we've arrested American citizens. How do we not know American citizens are going to get put into this place too? And again, the president here, so today is Tuesday the 1st. This is 9:20 a.m. I took a screenshot, and I'll put it up. Talking about Alligator Alcatraz, President Donald Trump on Tuesday made light of the conditions surrounding a temporary immigration detention center he was preparing to visit in Florida's Everglades. The site is being billed as Alligator Alcatraz, and Trump told reporters that detainees would be well advised to learn how to flee from animals if they escape. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this, Trump said, waving his hands in a zigzag motion. And you know what? Your chances go up like 1%. This man enjoys cruelty. I honestly believe he enjoys this so much it makes him happy. Donald Trump has a history of racism. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's not what this is about. He has a history of stuff like this. So he's enjoying this, and he gets to enjoy this power. And we as Americans are turning a blind eye to what's happening. And I can go back. How does this impact us here in Indiana? It impacts us because what if one of your neighbors gets swept up in a raid, your friends or a relative, and they're a citizen, and they get swept up because somebody said, "Oh, I think they're an illegal immigrant," and we know mistakes are made, even when we're doing things that are right. Mistakes are always, it's human error is always in a system, as long as humans are in it. Or if we design a system, there'll be errors in the system that we design. So this impacts us all, because one of us could be picked up, sent to this concentration camp, and be stuck there for how long till we can prove that we're a citizen. This goes back to, what is a citizen? How do you determine? Are we going to have to start wearing things to show that, yeah, I'm an American citizen. I don't need to be bothered. You can leave me alone, because I'm a citizen. That is something that we've never had to do. We should have to do. And this reminds me also of our Red Scare with McCarthyism in the 50s. Obviously, I wasn't born, I wasn't alive, but I've read about it. And you had people saying, hey, he's a communist. Go check him out. He's a communist. She's a communist. They're communist sympathizers. It was even then that just sympathizing was enough to get you put on a list. So if we can do this now, and we know that American citizens are getting captured into this, what stops them from doing it to American citizens because they've decided, hey, you're sympathizing, you are against us in this process? Where does it end? And I just want you to think about that. Where does it end? Because when you build things like this, it doesn't stop. Even when you say they were to get rid of all the illegals today, they're not going to stop. They're going to do something else. You don't hire this many people. You don't give this power out. You don't invest in this if you're to just end when it's done and you fix the problem. It doesn't. Never. That's not what it's going to be like. I'm telling you right now, there will be more things happening. Even if they complete their goal, there will be more. Authoritarians don't stop. When people enjoy this type of power, they don't stop. It's not going to end. And we have 3.5 more years left of this. And we need to start realizing that it can't be us versus them, in the sense that it's us versus whoever the government picks. We have to remember, we have to vote. It's important. We have to vote people in who want to be held accountable for what they're doing. And we have to vote not just in our self-interest, but what's best for the country. And I will leave it with that. And remember, you have a voice, use it. I'm trying to, so please use yours as well. Quick update I'll add to the video I just made. Trump said, and I'll post it, that he plans on deporting citizens at some point too, because they're criminals, apparently. Not my words, his words. I'll add it to this.
I'd like to say, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen, and it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York. And they're not accidents.